Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us in this live Q&A session to wrap up what has been a phenomenal month of Google Ads learning, catching up, double checking that you know everything you thought you knew. It's been brilliant. And thank you so much for your feedback as we've gone through it too. Now, what we're going to do today is we are going to be opening up to your questions for our brilliant set of panelists. Oh, and if you haven't come across the Keep Optimizing podcast before, if you just come along to this Q&A, across this month, we've had 5 episodes where we've explored all the things that have been going on in the Google Ads world. Now, you are more than welcome. In fact, I strongly encourage you to go and check it all out if you haven't already. You can find it at keepop.com/Google Ads. And if you found us on social and you haven't signed up to our emails, then if you want the replay and you want access to other things that we're going to be sharing, then make sure you sign up to our emails via the Q&A webinar tab now to get the replay, because later on today, I will be changing that sign up to be our next webinar. So do it now and then you'll get the Google Ads content. And I also need to thank at this point in time our brilliant sponsors that have been with us all month, the Digital Gearbox. We've got Jonny from Digital Gearbox, who will be one of our panelists in a moment. So just say thank you, Digital Gearbox. And if you want a free one-on-one Google Ads consultation, go to keepopt.com/Digital Gearbox. They've made an extra 2 available for people on the webinar. So that's something else you want to do before we get to the end whilst you're watching this session. So in today's webinar, we are looking for your questions. So if you've got a question about Google Ads, get it into us. We've had a lot of people sign up for this one. I know a lot of you are going to watch it on replay, but we've got several of you in here live. I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions coming in. So if you've got a burning question that you know right now, submit it via the chat wherever you're watching this now. Because the earlier you do it, the more time I have to get that question in front of our experts. And we've got 5 of them in here today. So yeah, we're going to be fighting for airtime. Let's put it that way. So get those questions in early. But of course, also get those questions in as we go through, and I will drop them in as I can. And the other thing I wanted to do was start talking about our lovely panelists. No, it wasn't. See, Chloe came into this flustered because all 5 of them turned up at the beginning of the prep time on time. They're usually like 10 minutes late. So all my prep time got taken up with chatting, which is brilliant, but has left me somewhat confused by my own webinar. Anyway, next thing I wanted to tell you about was we are in the process of launching a brand new community for e-commerce retailers. We're calling it Chloe's e-commerce club because coming up with a name was stopping me from doing it. So we're keeping it simple. And at the moment, we are operating a wait list. So if you want to join us, head to keepopt.com/club later on and sign up. And we will let you into that when it is ready to go live. Oh, and it's free. Did I say it's free? Very exciting and free. What more can you ask for? Okay, back to the webinar. These are our brilliant experts who will be joining me very shortly. So we've got Jonny Hyams from Digital Gearbox. As I mentioned, they are our sponsors this month, and they are offering 2 more one-on-one Google Ads consultations via keepopt.com/Digital Gearbox. We've got Nicki, Eggie from Reload Digital. Actually, let me make that a bit bigger so you can read it all. You can check out Reload Digital at reloaddigital.co.uk. Nick Trueman's back on the show from Spec Digital. You can check Spec out at spec.digital. Charlotte Sheridan did a brilliant job covering off YouTube ads. So if you're considering diversifying your ad spend, YouTube ads is a really good place to look. Charlotte's business is the Small Biz Expert, and you can learn more about them at thesmallbizexpert.co.uk. And last but definitely not least, we've got Imogen Collins from Genie Goals. And for a free audit of your paid media, you can contact them via their website, quoting Keep Optimizing. And the website is geniegoals.co.uk. And finally, you've got a lovely picture of me with considerably less grey hair. Really ought to get some greyer photos taken. So it's a panel webinar. You've just found out who the panelists are. I think we should probably bring them all up on screen. Hello, guys. How are we doing?
Hi, Chloe.
Hey, Chloe.
Hello.
Hi, Chloe.
Yay, we've got some Google Ads experts here. Let's hope we're going to get some Google Ads questions. Now, whilst people are continuing to put their questions into the comments, it would be awesome if you guys could just put a bit of kind of 3D humanity behind those minuscule intros I did, and tell everyone a little bit about you and what your company does. We'll go Nicki, Charlotte, Jonny, Imogen, Nick. So Nicki, you are first up.
Hey guys, I'm Nicki Eggie, and I head up the paid ads team at Reload Digital, and we're basically just a digital marketing agency focused on sort of growing e-com brands, but more so specializing in the D2C side of things across verticals such as beauty, fashion, and premium apparel.
And next.
So I'm Charlotte, founder of the Small Biz Expert. We're a digital marketing agency and training agency who help both e-commerce, B2B, all brands to both learn, and we also implement all their sort of digital marketing strategies.
And Jonny?
Hello, I'm Jonny, and I am a Coke addict, as you're able to tell from this Coca-Cola I'll be sipping throughout the webinar. I am also the head of client services at Digital Gearbox. We're a PPC specialist agency, so Google Ads is my bread and butter. I spend about 80% of my time doing PPC. The remaining 20% is drinking Coke Zero.
That was one hell of a way to start your intro, Jonny. Almost worthy of Rishi Sunak there. But let's leave the politics there. Imogen, you're up. How do you follow that?
I have no idea how to follow up that. So I'm Imogen Collins. I've been doing PPC for about 10 years, and I'm the head of delivery at Genie Goals. We are a e-commerce and retail focused digital marketing agency based in Cambridge, and we specialize in PPC, paid social, and affiliates.
Amazing. And yeah, my name's Nick. I run Spec. Spec.digital is our website, as Chloe said. I've been working in this industry for 15 years. So obviously I'm a bit of an idiot to have lasted this long with this many changes coming out from Google. My business, we only work on Google. We're PPC and SEO. We do a little bit on Bing, but we're just a purely Google focused agency.
Awesome. I've just about kept up with copying and pasting all your links into the thing for everybody to get there. Whew, I think I managed to combine the right brand to the right person. So we've had
speedy.
Yeah, so whoa. So we've had a great first question. Unsurprisingly, a great question, given it's come from the brilliant Janice Thomas, who I should say is absolutely no relation of mine, but I am a fan. She is a talented retail marketer, and she's asking the big question: what one question should we be asking an external ad agency managing Google Ads? So let's start with Jonny, because he gave such an amazing intro. Jonny, what one thing would you suggest?
Oh, I was really hoping you wouldn't pick me, because I've got a few thoughts there. I'm going to turn it around a little bit. One question that I would want to hear as an agency is how we can best work together, because too often there is a disconnect between what an agency is doing and the brand is doing. So making sure that is all connected and that you're supporting one another is really, really key. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have.
No, I think that's a great one, Jonny. A good curveball, and it is when I used to run an agency once upon a time, and certainly sometimes it would fail because there were very different cultures going on. So I think that's a good one. Let's now go to Nicki, because Nicki, you were nodding away there. So what's your number one for what questions a brand should be asking their agency at the moment?
I would definitely ask, like, how do you make sure that you're continually sort of evolving your strategies? You want to be partnering with an agency that is going to get the best sort of results for you. So you're kind of looking for answers such as, we do A/B split testing. We do a lot of internal and external benchmarking. We're going to PPC events and conferences. We're hiring for, specific verticals, in-house experience. You kind of want to know that they are sort of invested in continually growing and developing your own strategy so that you as a business can continually grow and develop as well.
Nice. I like that. Charlotte, you were nodding towards the end of that one. So what's your take?
I actually, I'm going to flip it around a bit like Jonny did. I actually think there's no magic question. What you want to listen to, what questions are the agency asking you? It's actually, you get a feel more for somebody who is asking the right questions about your business as opposed to the wrong questions. So I never think there's kind of a killer question, but actually there's almost like a killer question that they will ask you that can kind of make or break how you feel.
It's a bit like that that section at the end of a job interview when you turn around to the applicant, you go, anything you'd like to ask us? And the worst thing anyone can ever say is no. It's like, oh no, you must leave me now. We're not hiring you. Yeah, I love that. Nick, what's your number one question a brand should be asking an agency?
I've got. Can I give a slightly humorous one with a serious reason, and then a proper one afterwards? Can I give two? So the slightly humorous one is, and this is genuinely an important one, and we have something framed as an answer to this in our wall. What do you think of Google? And the reason I say that is if you ask the agency, you'll get one of two roads, which I think is why these guys are laughing now, is you'll get one of two roads. One is they'll start talking about their agency partnership and how great Google are. And the other one, I'll quote what's literally written on the wall of our office. It says, rule one, Google are evil thieving Whatsits. We had to change the word to Whatsits, might I add. So that would be my first one. And the second one as well, which is a much simpler one and for obvious reasons. We have a couple of clients that ask this a lot, and I love being asked this. What's holding us back? Because that literally is we want to scale, we want to grow, we know what the target is, what's holding us back from that target right now. But as long as they ask it honestly, you don't want them just asking for the sake of it. You want them to asking because they're gonna say, what is the roadblock, and we're gonna go and move that. But definitely rule one is something we live by at this agency.
Okay, Imogen, last but definitely not least.
So I mean, my first answer was going to be super specific and just say how much are we spending on brand right now, because I guarantee a lot of agencies aren't going to know anymore. Yep. With all the massive changes that are happening, automation, PMAX, all of this kind of thing, it's becoming harder and harder to unpick your performance from itself. But going beyond that, I'd say, what are we testing? So much has changed recently, and there's loads of stuff that we had an answer to 3 or 4 years ago, and we no longer do have an answer to, because things aren't working the same way that they used to do. So if you've still got accounts that are being like split out by match type into exact phrase and broad, and you're still kind of all your campaigns are split out into different kind of audiences and very, very specific like single keyword campaigns and things like this, maybe they need to rethink what the strategy is and test strategies that they've kind of long ago said don't work, because maybe they do work now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I took away from recording, the 5 episodes with all of you, is that Google Ads has changed so massively at the moment that if you're not aware of all the changes, but Google Ads has changed in a way that if you're not aware of the changes, you could be blithely carrying on business as usual from 12 months ago and be totally missing a trick. So I think that's such a good thing. And anyone who's going from Imogen's question in particular, how will I know if they're doing the right thing? Listen to the 5 episodes we just put out and you will know exactly what they should know. You'll quite possibly know more than your agency, but obviously not the agencies who are joining us on this. We've got loads of questions coming in. So I'm going to go to we've got an anonymous LinkedIn user who's saying, I have a question relating to Performance Max ads. I'm concerned that it's not possible to drive the algorithm and the process provides very little information about results, which is basically have a rant about Performance Max. But could we, rather than ranting about Performance Max, could we try and give some practical answers to this one? And I'll take 1 or 2 of you. So who's got... Nicki, you are nodding away, so I'm guessing you've got a definite answer on this one. So, Nicki, could you come in on this one, please?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very topical conversation at the moment. Is like, how do we actually get the most out of Performance Max? Because it really is this black box. But I guess the tagline that we've been saying around Reload Digital is to manipulate the input so that you can maximize the output. And that's just, we have to go in and really optimize sort of our organic, our content, because that's ultimately what's feeding into our actual sort of keyword targeting. We need to be investing in sort of feed optimization. We need to be updating, our creative and thinking about it in the same way that we would sort of paid social, having those regular
We've gained a dog and we've lost Nicki. Okay, until Nicki comes back, has anyone got anything they want to add in to that answer? Nick, we'll come to you.
Okay, I'm going to give a few quick nuggets here. I think, Nicki, you back? Do you want to finish?
I don't know when I fell off. So.
It was quite impressive. You stopped and the dog started barking. It was really, really quite cool.
Oh, beautiful.
Was there one last point you made? Because you dropped off about probably 30 seconds ago, but I couldn't tell you exactly what you were saying.
Yeah, unsure where I dropped off there, but yeah, I guess the whole point is just to think about this from an integrated marketing lens. We have to blend all of the channels together, using sort of organic content, creative, all the rest to really pull it together and maximize what we can actually get out of it. Because unfortunately, the reality is we don't have as much control at the individual sort of keyword level and that sort of thing as we once did.
Cool. And just to say, with that, for anyone who's on the Performance Max, and I'm not meaning to plug the podcast every 5 seconds on this, but we did talk Performance Max in pretty much every single episode, even though only Nick's episode was specifically about Google Shopping and PMax. So there's tips about it in all of them and how it impacts all the other areas of Google Ads. So it's well worth listening to the whole lot, even if you're just worried about PMax. Nick, you were going to give us a couple of quick tips on Performance Max improvements.
Yes, a few nuggets. Number one is Google is slowly releasing more and more information about PMax activity. So if you go in the Insights tab, the first time I looked at it, there were only about 3 figures in there, and 2 of them, I think, were basically saying not available yet. It didn't tell you anything. Secondly, this might be way too technical. I don't know who you are, LinkedIn user, but I would highly recommend looking at scripts. So we as an agency have started adopting scripts like you wouldn't believe this year. I know it's only the 31st of Jan, but we're implementing scripts for every single client. We've got scripts now that will tell us some of the search terms that have come up on Performance Max. I haven't played with that one myself, but the one I have used will tell you what networks your ads are showing on, which Google won't release that information freely. So I'd highly recommend playing with that. The other thing as well is we've developed a little bit of tech, if you don't mind me plugging it, Chloe. Anyone can develop something similar, but we've got a bit of tech that also then splits now the difference between Surface's revenue and Google Shopping revenue. For anyone who doesn't know, Surface's is free shopping. So I'd highly recommend looking at some scripts, APIs. You'll get a lot more information on PMax out of those than you'll get out of Google Ads itself.
So are we saying that scripts allow us greater access to the results than just Google Ads does? Everyone's nodding.
Yeah. The data's there. Google's
Damn you, Google.
Rule number one.
Damn you, Google. Which brings us on to, I was going to go to another. Okay. We'll do this one here first. Anyone other than Nick, just because I'm trying to give you all airtime, who fancies explaining scripts? Or should we put Nick in the hot seat on this one? Imogen?
So a script uses a language very similar to JavaScript to basically put together a bit of code that can give you things like, can either pull information out of the API and automate that, sending it into a spreadsheet or sending you an email with that information, or you can use it to automate certain tasks. So we've got one that for some clients who are very, very fussy about their the way that their brand is portrayed. So we just any videos that have been automatically created in PMax campaigns get deleted as soon as they get created. Or you can have scripts that automatically change bids based on the weather, or you can have scripts that send you all your performance stats into a spreadsheet every day, things like that. So it gives you a lot of control in your AdWords activity.
Awesome set of examples there. Anyone else got a killer script example they're willing to share, or do you want to keep them secret? We can go either way. Keep them secret. Fair enough. Okay. Let's now. And John Legg, thank you for letting me know who you are. I'm going to assume you're anonymous LinkedIn user unless someone tells me you're there, the other anonymous LinkedIn user. So I'm guessing this is potentially also a John question, or actually based on the last one, it might be somebody else. So this one's a controversial one. For the past 3 weeks, we've been getting much better results from conventional ads than Performance Max. We've now stopped using P Max. Now, having listened to the ads, that's not a long-term strategy. Is anyone else seeing this sort of results or got any advice? Jonny, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, three weeks isn't very long to really test it. But what I found when I'm sure this is comparing it to probably a shopping campaign, a standard shopping campaign. I found Performance Max tends to outperform standard shopping about 60% of the time. 20% of the time it's about on par, and then 20% of the time it does considerably worse. So it's what you don't really know until you test it. It may just be for this anonymous LinkedIn user, standard shopping is the way to go. If this is a Performance Max campaign that's not using a feed, so there's no shopping element, then yeah, it's going to be junk. Don't use it.
Simple as that. Have they announced a date for the death of standard shopping, or is it something we're assuming? I can't remember which way around that goes.
Smart shopping's died, hasn't it?
I think it's now standard or PMax, but there's no date.
We haven't been
eventually, but
okay.
I think it's going to happen because when you try and create a new standard shopping campaign, Google tries really hard to convince you to use Performance Max instead. So I think it's coming at some point in the future, but it hasn't. Nothing's been announced. That's just me assuming.
It would certainly fit with Google's just give us your money, we'll sort everything out approach to things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised by that.
Don't worry, we've got you. You don't need to do it. Can I give some advice to John Legg?
Yeah, of course you can.
I would try creating a PMax campaign without any assets in it, and see if the reason is that you are basically showing on YouTube too much, because that we've seen some campaigns where we've had kind of a PMax campaign with assets that have just suddenly started to show a load of traffic on some kind of weird placements and things, and if you take that away or take away the functionality to do that, then it's just going to be kind of a pure shopping almost situation, and you'll probably see a massive uptick in performance there.
You can also, sorry, just to jump in here as well, it's like you can also try to reach out to your Google rep, and in extenuating circumstances, you can request that they sort of remove the YouTube element of it, because not everyone has kind of the in-house capabilities to produce YouTube content. And if you say sort of from a brand protection perspective, you don't like the content that gets automatically sort of templated up, you can request that they remove that. And then another thing I'd recommend is sometimes the display ads that get created can be a bit off-brand. And so for that, I'd recommend using HTML5 ads if you can actually get them commissioned, because they look a lot more premium. And then hopefully you can sort of increase that ROI.
Nice. Couple of ways to remove the YouTube there. So I'm going to shift on to the next question, because I've got two questions here. One which, quite frankly, could take us the next 3 years to try and answer. Thank you for that, Chrissy. And another one that I'm going to bring up next. We've probably, though, got enough time to answer a couple more questions. So if you're watching out there and you want to get a question in now, please do send it in our direction. First off, though, we're going to come to Yuzen's question. What is the first thing clients need to consider when they want to create a Google Ads strategy with the agency? So I know we had that early on of what questions do you ask your agency. I'm taking this as being we're signed and sealed. How can I set my agency up for success? And Charlotte, I'm going to come to you first on this one.
So genuinely, it's the really obvious answer, but you really do need to give your agency all of the information, what your key objectives are, what your plans are for the next year, 18 months. They need to know with commerce brands exactly what you're bringing out when, what your focus is. Are there areas that you don't want to focus on, that actually they're your bread and butter, and actually from a Google Ads perspective, that's not what you want to be working on? So it is the standard stuff of give as much information about your overarching business objectives, not just what's going on with the Google ads, you know, what you're doing over on Facebook, what you're doing with your SEO at the moment, because the more information you feed into your agency, the far better a more cohesive campaign that you will have.
Oh, I could not agree with that more. And I'm sorry, I was reading comments at the same time, but did you mention stock levels? Because that's one where I've seen a lot of people fall foul in the past. Is they say, oh yeah, this is our bestseller, and your agency goes to town on it, and they go, oh, and you fail to tell them that it's out of stock half the time, which means you're paying for stuff that cannot possibly be sold. So keep them up to speed on that. Anyone else got one they'd like to jump in on this one? You must. Come on. What do you want clients to give you before?
I can jump in. I'm just trying to be polite. I think for me, the setting some sort of target and being realistic about it. What I mean by being realistic is, and we do SEO as well, so we get this on SEO, like how much uplift are we going to get, and we're like, I don't know. We say it in a much more professional way than that, might add, but it's difficult to know what's going to work. So the first thing I look at with the strategy is, okay, what are your margins? And then what do your margins look like if we include your business costs and our fee as well? And then you might end up going from like the product, we sell it for £20, but it costs us 10, so we've got a 50% margin. You might find yourself at a 20% margin or a 10% margin once you've done all of that. So now you're looking at sort of like 4, 5, 6, 7 to 1. Some scenarios we have clients where it's like 30 to 1 ROI targets, and they can be quite hard to hit. But PPC, let's be honest, it's a numbers game. So I agree with everything you've said, Charlotte. It's about all the right information, and the information and maybe it's because I'm quite a commercial person. I always want to know the money, like how much do we need to spend to get a good result? What's the result we need to get off the back of this? And then setting up something like Google Data Studio to go, right, we've now got a live tracking dashboard, so we know what it's doing day in, day out, and putting comments on that to tell you what Google's estimated lag time is as well between a click and a conversion. But yeah, those numbers are so important. We've made the mistake before of not asking that question and not putting that into the strategy, and then 6 months in we're like, look how much money we're making you, and they're like, no you're not, you're making us a massive loss. And it's a bit of a shock. So we make sure it's part of our onboarding these days and have done for a few years. But yeah, that ROI target, and when I say target, I've only mentioned break even so far. You've got to get above that to start making profit as well. So that's got to be clear, including all costs is super important.
I think
sorry, go on, Imogen.
I think another one that I would add is so agencies always say like, we want to be an extension of your team, but I think the other side of that is that clients need to treat agencies like an extension of their team and not hide things from them and not kind of try and catch them out. So saying things like, you know, you make me a forecast, I'm not going to show you my forecast because I want to see if it matches up, isn't helping anybody. It's just like adding an extra level of difficulty to the agency's job, and that time that they're spending doing a forecast when you've already got one is time that could be spent optimizing your account, or time that they could be spent, you know, looking for doing analysis and things like that. And the same with kind of like setting budgets for an upper funnel campaign or something like that. If you say, no, you tell me how much it's going to cost. I'm not going to tell you how much I've got until you give me a number. Again, like you can't really put together a really cohesive idea of you know, what kind of activity we can do for someone if we don't know if it's 2,000 or 20,000 that we've got to spend on it. So having all the information up front is really, really helpful, and kind of trying to trick an agency into giving you an answer without any information isn't going to help your strategy at all.
You've got to see it as a partnership. I think that's,
yeah.
You know, from the mindset point of view, that's definitely it. But I'm going to shift us on to the next question because I'm aware we're nearly 2/3 of the way through, everyone. So this is the last call for questions. If you've got another question, get it in now to have any chance at all of it getting answered. But I'm going to come to this, which is it's the interesting question. So thank you, Chrissy, for asking this one. This is Chrissy Clare from Collectify, asking, why have Google changed things so much? What are the benefits? Charlotte, I'm going to come to you first on this one because we haven't really mentioned YouTube ads, and it does strike me that a lot of the changes are enabling the potential that is now there on YouTube ads. So not meaning to feed you an answer, but in case your perspective on this would be the YouTube ads ones, I'm going to give you the first opportunity to answer.
I will first of all give my answer, which kind of circles back a little bit to what was said at the start of the call. Google is there to make Google money, not necessarily the client money. So I might steal your poster, Jonny. but the move towards sort of automation is to try and help you, like Google Ads users, to actually make the most of the whole Google ecosystem. Do I think it's perfect yet? Absolutely not. But there are a lot of placements which we often do overlook. So YouTube being one of them, that actually can really drive good traffic at the top of funnel, can actually drive awareness of your brand conversion. So I think it's really a bit of a push from Google to try and get people using their entire ecosystem. People are coming away from some of the social platforms for various reasons. But I will always come back to Google is a business that needs to make money like everyone else. And getting rid of their rubbish placements that nobody wanted to advertise in is filling those ad slots and making them money. So it's goods and bads, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So true. I think the longer you spend working in Google Ads, the more you are suspicious of everything that Google does. And this certainly, for me, it's definitely one of those areas that you could blithely carry on without really understanding the ways in which things have changed and how you could improve them, which is why I was so pleased to be able to put this together with all of you. Anyone got a more cynical, a more positive view than Charlotte's here? Jonny, Nicki, Imogen. We'll try and keep Nick out of this one because I know what he's going to say.
You know my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. Jonny?
So I think Google's long-term goal is for people like us to not exist anymore, for the business to give money directly to Google and to Google to take it from there. But what I'm guessing people are getting a sense of, probably from the conversation we had earlier around Performance Max, is no matter what Google does, as long as there's more money to be made by doing it better, there'll be people like us figuring out ways to make it work better. We'll be using scripts to get rid of YouTube ads. We will be figuring out where the ads are appearing. We will be optimizing those feeds. So no matter what Google tries to do, we'll still be here. We're like cockroaches.
Anyone else feeling like a cockroach? I feel like we've gone like from the kind of being too kind to Google potential angle of Charlotte's to we're the cockroaches dealing with it all. Anyone got an answer somewhere in the middle? Sorry, Imogen, go for it.
So I think Google thinks they know better than we do, and they've been telling us to do certain things for a really long time, and a lot of agencies have been pushing back on that. And so putting agencies in a position where they don't really have an option but to adopt it obviously gives them the ability to then do that testing and push those results that they wanted to. So they say, they've been trying to get people to do more upper funnel activity with Google. And if people kind of continually just as a default exclude any app placements or have like an enormous list of placements that they won't appear on, or won't do any display on Google because they think that they can get better results through other platforms, or put all their video ad money into Facebook and don't even bother with YouTube and things like this, then Google's finding it very hard to prove that their theory that they know better and that they can get the results that they say that they can get. So I think that this has put them in a position where they obviously are getting us to spend a lot more money through them, and also are able to just kind of use our data to test what they want to test, because they've got kind of that immediate access to it, and it's a lot more difficult for people to be able to see what isn't going well. And obviously they are at some point going to give us a lot more access and visibility, but in the meantime they're having their testing period, aren't they?
Yeah, I think we have to see that. I think this is kind of like Google trying to become a more easy to use interface, like Facebook ads are. It's a lot more. There's a lot more creative elements to it. There's a lot more. It does an awful lot more for you out of the box. But I think the other thing which they're hopefully taking from Facebook ads is if the results stop, everyone will leave. So whilst we're in this kind of like churn phase at the moment, I'm hoping if we all end up voting with our money because the results plummet through the floor like they did with Facebook, then they are taking a lesson for that. Nicki, did you have any thoughts you wanted to add in on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I completely echo everything that's already been said, but I'll put on my rose-colored glasses and say, I think Google's making us better marketers, because it is sort of like we have no choice but to adopt these strategies. But it's our job now to figure out how do we evolve beyond that and not get left behind. And the example that I use internally, and to be honest, it lands for some and not for others, but the way I like to think of it is like, where like, Google is like Jarvis and we're Tony Stark, and kind of one doesn't work without the other. We kind of have to be there to elevate it, to feed into it and to make it work harder, because either of them on their own are going to fall flat. So I don't know how many Marvel fans there are out there, but yeah.
Not me, but I'm nodding wisely.
I do genuinely think that, when the introduction of Performance Max came in and we're like, oh, we can't add in negative keywords. Oh, we can't do this. We can't do that. It made us go, right, okay, what can we actually do? Because in a world where sort of everyone's special, no one's special. So we have to figure out what those sort of levers are that we can pull to sort of elevate us as marketers. Yeah,
and it is this whole evolution fundamentally it's a whole evolution due to the privacy changes, but let's not get into that because we've only got about 10 minutes left. So my final question to you all is, and kind of building on Nicki's point of evolving beyond an evolution, what is the key thing that a brand should be doing who's already up and running on Google Ads? So let's not go for those who are starting first time. Let's go with a brand who's already seeing results from Google Ads. What's the thing they should be doing in their Google Ads activity to up results, which might either be, you can either pick improve volume or improve ROI. It might be a campaign, it might be an optimization tactic, it might be a script. What's that one thing? And you've got about a minute each on this that you should be doing to improve your results. Who wants to go first? No one.
I'll do it.
Thanks, Charlotte. Thank you.
Just cheerily stepping into the break. Honestly, the best thing you can do to improve your results has got nothing to do with Google Ads. Improve your website conversion rate. Anything you can do, because then for every pound that you're spending, if you up your conversion rate from, let's just for the sake of my maths, 1% to 2%, you're getting twice the result for the same amount of money. So look at opportunities to increase that conversion rate, or I'm going into the other bit, or the average order value on your website, because actually that is a surefire way without having to spend a penny more in your advertising to get a better result across, generally speaking, any channel that you're investing in.
Love that. So we've got an off-site tactic from Charlotte. Jonny, do you want to go next?
That was going to be my answer as well. So let me just build on it a little bit.
Okay, we'll go for someone else whilst you come up with a second, as Charlotte's stolen yours. Nicki, how about you?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it before, but my recommendation would just be talk to the other sort of channel experts. So your organic team, creative team, UX, as you've just sort of mentioned, Charlotte, as well, because more and more we're going to have to be relying on some of their information to maximize our performance. It's no longer siloed marketing. It's now an integrated marketing and approach. And we kind of need to look at it from that lens.
Cool. Jonny, have you got your alternative answer now?
I have. I quickly thought one up.
Excellent.
Invest higher in the funnel. So if you want to build your volume, this won't really help your ROI, but to build the volume of orders would be to start going higher in the funnel. And Performance Max actually plays a key part in that with those YouTube placements, but make sure you're investing in high quality placements and creatives there, because if you're pushing the pre-made, auto-generated videos that Google constructs for you, it's going to do nothing for you. They're going to look ugly. So invest in creatives, invest higher up in the funnel.
No, I love that one. Imogen, how about you?
Try and get as much control over your PMAX campaigns as you can. So obviously PMAX is a really good way of investing higher up in the funnel, but use scripts to find out exactly how much of your money is being spent on YouTube. And if a lot of your money is being spent on YouTube, then I would, as I said earlier, split out an asset-free campaign so that you can have a campaign which is really targeted on driving the bottom of the funnel. Look at how much of you, so if you have a really, really heavy brand presence, split out brand, use negative keywords and split out the brand so that you can run a standard campaign towards brand, and have a lot more control over your CPCs on that brand traffic, because PMAX is going to be driving really, really stupidly high CPCs on your brand traffic, which is just nonsense. And also you want to have control over, you might have really good coverage of your brand traffic already through SEO and not even want to be running on brand. So you need to have a kind of strategy around that type of thing. And lastly, am I going too far? Thinking about your ROI targets. So if you have just really, really high ROI targets, that doesn't always mean that you're driving the best possible performance. If you can lower them and still be profitable, then you're going to be driving more profit overall, because the total amount of profit is what's important, not getting the highest number on your ROI. If you've got an ROI of 30 and you're making £1 a week, then that's not going to be great for your business. But if you've got an ROI of 15 and you're making £1,000 a week, there we go. We've already made a big improvement.
Awesome advice. Thank you very much, Imogen. And finally, definitely not least, Nick, what's your take?
Can I give two things, and I can give active examples of these as well.
I knew this was going to happen. Yeah, of course. We've actually got enough time. So.
You didn't let me answer the last question, so. No, the first one I would say is product. I can give an example of this. We took on an account that was a 16-to-1 ROI, which in the world of Google is generally pretty good. And the client showed us his account and said, what do you think? It's great, isn't it? And we went in, there's no audience signals, all the performance max had upgraded from smart shopping automatically. They were using DSA ads. Controversial, I know. Basically means there's no keywords and your advert just says Google will make it up. That was getting a 14-to-1 ROI on quite a nice volume, spending a few thousand a month. But they had a really good product. They're in a niche. Their products are really hard to get hold of, so you have to come to them or their two competitors. So a very average website and a terribly built account was converting really well. We clicked some buttons. 3 months later, we were doing a 25-to-1 ROI. It's still one of our highest ever ROI campaigns, and it's one of the least sexy brands I've ever seen in my life. So product is super important. So don't just do what I did years ago and buy some bamboo sunglasses and Alibaba and pretend you're running an e-commerce store now. It doesn't work. So I think product's super important. And the second one, which relates to product as well, is you touched on this, Imogen. I thought you put this really well, and I'm going to add another layer to it if that's all right. Lifetime value of customer. So if you get a second order, and a bit like this, some of the stats the other guys gave as well, if you get a second order from every customer, you can half your ROAS target now, and you're making the same money, because email is nearly free. Not completely free, but it's nearly free to email your customers, engage them on social. Or if you've got a good product, the first one, which is where they link, got a good product, they'll come back and buy more anyway. And so we look at lifetime value with customers, and a lot of brands we looked at initially were coming back at 1.1 orders per customer lifetime. And that's not high enough. So we got that to like somewhere between 3 and 5 orders per customer on average lifetime. It took 2 years to get there, but now means we've got literally a fifth of the target on Google in terms of ROAS. We're making the same money. If we do better than a 5-to-1 ROI, then we're absolutely killing it for them. Absolutely killing it. So yeah, it really starts to change the game, getting lifetime value and having a good product.
Brilliant. Thank you all very much for those. I'm going to remove you guys from the screen so you can go and relax. And I will see you all off-site in a minute. Yeah, because guys, we have like a party after this is done. No, we don't. What we will say hi to each other. But I thought what was really interesting about those last five answers was it's about taking that all-encompassing view. Yeah, there's some stuff you can do on the Google Ads platform itself, but it's taking that full customer view, like Jonny was saying. It's taking that off Google Ads, the rest of your website, the rest of your business, the downstream access, like Imogen was saying. So many levels to this to look at. Sorry to those of you we haven't got to the questions for. Most of you, I think, have come from LinkedIn, so I will pop over and hang out in the comments there for a bit after this, or at some point before I log off later, and get back to you all there. Huge thank you to all our guests. We had Jonny Hyams from Digital Gearbox. We had Nicki Eggie from Reload Digital, Nick Trueman from Spec Digital, Charlotte Sheridan from The Small Biz Expert, and Imogen Collins from Genie Goals. And you can, for about the next 20 minutes, if you haven't already signed up to this event, via keepopt.com/Google Ads, and then go to the Q&A webinar tab. If you do that now and give us your email, you will get access to the replay, to timestamps of when the key questions happened, and contact details for all our brilliant experts as well. And huge thanks to Digital Gearbox for their sponsorship this month, which just leaves me to tell you about what's happening next month, because tomorrow is a new month. Tomorrow is February, and whilst on the Keep Optimising podcast, we usually focus on a marketing method, we like to occasionally explore the other dimensions of your marketing strategy. And in February, we are attempting to tackle the complicated subject of marketing attribution across 4 podcast episodes. So we've got lots of different perspectives, different angles. My aim for the month is to help you work out whether you should care about marketing attribution, and if you do care about marketing attribution, which bit of it you should care about and how you should go about it, which is an awful lot of questions to answer in 4 podcast episodes, but that is our aim. And I've got some brilliant guests coming in to do it who are total specialists in this space. We are talking with Joe Young from Unifeeder even. We are going to do the controversial, can you get away with just using GA4, with the brilliant Jill Quick. And then we're going to be talking about both the art and science side of it with Joe from Sweet Analytics. And then the last episode is TBC. I'm cooking up something quite special for that one, but I don't want to jinx it before I've recorded it. So please do come and join us throughout February for marketing attribution. We will be doing a Q&A webinar on that, and you'll be able to sign up for that from tomorrow. So thanks everyone for coming and joining us live. Thank you also to those of you who are watching the replay, because I know there's loads of you who love to do that. And I will see you all very shortly in a podcast or another one of these in the next few days. Cheers. Bye everyone.